السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. إن شاء الله تعالى we'll review tonight from روض المربع, as it's mentioned in the schedule, from كتاب التيمم, from باب التيمم, the chapter of التيمم, all the way to al-Hayd. So before, if you have any questions, since this is meant, if you have any questions with the book in any sentence, in any word, any mas'ala that is not clear, just briefly, inshallah ta'ala, summarizing what some of the things that were mentioned. We talked about at-tayammum, its definition, as always, linguistically, lughatan wa shar'an, and that this is one of the characteristics of this ummah, and that the tahara, the purification that is by tayammum, is in exchange or in place of the water. So it's not original in itself, it's because of the lack of water, whether it's not present physically or there is an excuse, and that's why the tayammum is done instead of making the full wudu or al-ghusl. And whether this is in something that is recommended or something that is obligatory. So if someone wants to touch the mushaf and it's not time for an obligatory salah, there's no water, or there's an excuse, as the excuses that are mentioned, then it's okay to make tayammum. And the important masala, or some of the important masail there, whether tayammum is mubih or rafi' lil-hadath, permits the actions, or it makes the person not muhdith, that means he's in state of purification. And the madhab is upon that it's mubih, that means it permits the action. And of course, there is implications to this. So therefore, the time has to enter of the fard salah. The tayammum is not valid if the time of the salah finishes, because it's for every salah a person has to seek water. The person has to have the intention what he's making tayammum for, and many other things that as a result of that. So, and this is a matter of differences of opinions, but this is basically what the tayammum, and if the water comes, then the tayammum, the person has to use the water, or the condition or the excuse that is there. So there are conditions mentioned that makes the tayammum permissible or mubih, whether it's the entrance of the time, so it's talked about the dukhul waqt or the lack of water. So dukhul waqt, whether it's farida, even something that is with nadhr, whether it's a vow or a fard, and also the nafila, the optional act of worship that also permits its action. And the lack of water, this is basically whether it's physically there's no water, or religiously there's excuses. There's water, but it's too expensive. He doesn't have the money for it. He has the money for it, but he needs the water for himself or for those who are dependencies, that he needs to give them water to drink or something like this. If he seeks the water, because one of the conditions is for a person to seek the water before the tayammum is permissible, but he fears for himself any harm, whether in himself, if he uses the water, then he might harm himself, sickness, for example, or harming others. This is also can makes the person permissible for him to use tayammum, whether it's fearing thirst and things like this. So there's excuses more than just the presence of water. And there are many masail, of course, that is related to this. Also, when it comes to seeking the water, whether it's an obligation or it's not an obligation. So to purchase the water, to purchase whatever is needed for the water. Say, for example, you have to have a container. And the only way for you to get the water, you have to have a container. Then you have to have the container, you have to purchase it. And many other things, depends on the circumstances and the environment and things like this. And whether to accept the water, do you have to accept it if it's given to you as a gift? You don't have to. or if it's given as a loan, then that's fine. Meaning you don't have to, but if a person accepts it, that's fine. So all of these things have been mentioned. So this is if it's not mandatory, then if it's would cause the person to have a minna or a favor for others on him. Also, what's mentioned here, and there are many things, of course, I'm skipping. I'm just going through the some of the masail there, and the issue of izalat al-najasa and things like this. So let's see if you have any questions, and then we can continue, inshallah. What is the meaning of page 159? I think I know what you. Shame. It's kind of maybe they took an English from it. So he says here, with regards to using the water, some of the cases here where it's not obligatory for the person to use the water. The water is present, but it's not obligatory upon him. He can do tayammum. If أو زاد على ثمنه, if it's more than what the price of water is, somebody used their situation and is charging lots of money. أو ثمن يعجزه, he's not able to. أو خاف باستعماله, or he fears if he uses the water, whether it's harm for him, for his body, or for his companions, or his honor and dignity, like wife, woman, and his from his relatives, or harm أو ماله بعطش أو مرض أو هلاك ونحوه. Fearing for anything that sickness or anything of that nature, كخوفه باستعمال تأخر البرء أو بقاء أثر شين في جسده. Like fearing that his cure will be delayed, or بقاء أثر شين, or something left of traces of شين في جسده. And a shayn is anything that is not pleasant, anything. Sometimes if it's used in a non physical matter, this can be like shame, something that is shameful. But here, when it comes to something physical, so anything that is might leave any traces of harm on his body. So it's just something of an example to show that if anything that is harmful, something that is physically can harm or leave something in his body as a result of the water being used. So this is all makes it not permissible. No. So this is what a shame in principle means. Also, when it comes to because there's so many different masail, and the many different masail is to establish these principles. If the water is close, for example, but a person, if he makes tayammum, he would miss the janaza, or he misses the fard salah. Unless a person is a traveler. Then traveler is different. So these details were mentioned also there. And they so they differentiate between someone that is a traveler versus someone that is not a traveler. And if he takes his turn to get the water, he would miss the salah, for example. No. It's so many different things. If we want to go through the entire chapter as if we're going to go through it over again. So I just wanted to see if you have anything that we want to explain, for example, or something that is not clear. It would make better use of the time, I guess, instead of just going through all of the different things here. طيب, there is وأن اختلط التراب بذي غبار غير كنورة. نعم, the sentence meaning 164. So here, okay. With regards to the dust that is used for the tayammum, So it has to have a غبار, it has to have a dust that stays on the hands. So وإن اختلط التراب بذي غبار غيره كالنورة كماء خلطه طاهر. So then the ruling, so here it's, let me come to it first, inshallah. Now, so here again, I was looking at something here. So here, when it comes to the ghubar has to be there. But if there is turab, which is valid, so the turab is what we make tayammum with, what's from the earth. But it's been mixed with something that has ghubar also, but not from the earth. So a nura, whether it's I forgot the name in English, the manure, or anything else other than what comes originally from the earth, is mixed with the dust. So it takes the same ruling as water is mixed with something tahir. Tahir pure, but it's not water. So if you have water and you put on it some tomato sauce, can you make wudu from this water or not? So the ruling here, if it takes away from it the name water and it becomes something else, it becomes tomato paste, then it's not permissible to use this water for wudu or ghusl. So the same thing, if the dust or what's from the earth is mixed with something else that takes away from it being turab, then it's not permissible. So that's why it says فَكَمَاءٍ خَلَطَهُ طَاهِرٌ. If it makes it different, you look at it, you see that this is manure, this is something else. It's not from the earth. It's not something that is turab or dust. But if it's some is mixed, but it does not take it away from the fact that it's turab, then it's okay to use. And many of these masail, as you know from practicality, many of them, the ulama, they make exactly as the rings of the wudu, but it's just important to understand these masail and where does it come from and what's the principles that the ulama followed when it comes to these rulings. طيب, إزالة النجاسة, removing the najasa. And for the removing of the najasa, so either the najasa is on the ground, on the floor, or attached to something that is on the floor or on other than the floor, because ulama they make separation here, differentiation here. If it's on the floor, on the ground, then one washing is sufficient, but with the condition that it removes the najasa and what's comes with it. So unless there's inability, then it's a different situation. If it's something that is attached to the ground, then it has to remove this matter with, you have to remove it, not just one washing and it's sufficient. And then there's if it's not on the earth, if it's not on the ground. So first of all, it's if it's on the ground, there is the level of the najasa that it's mughallada, or the heaviest najasa, which is the najasa of the dog and the pig. This is the 7 times. The first time with dust, if it's in a utensil, and some said with regards to the ground. If it's the rest of the najasat, if it's on the ground 7 times, or if it's less. This is with the najasa on the ground, and if it's the issues of delk and rubbing and things like this, and if it's something that is completely changed, all of that is mentioned, and what's impossible to clean, like paste and things like this. So there's many different مسائل there, and I hope it's clear. يعني no questions there in إزالة النجاسة. Page 161. طيب, التيمم ويلزمه أيضا طلبه بدلالة ثقة إذا كان قريبا عرفا ولم يخف فوت وقت ولو المختار أو رفقة أو على نفسه أو ماله ويلزمه that means it's upon him it's mandatory upon him to seek the water بدلالة ثقة if trustworthy told him that there's water nearby so it has to be someone that he trusts because now he's searching for water and he can't find water someone trustworthy he told him that there's some water that is nearby and it's nearby عرفا what's considered to be nearby not something that is too far and he did not fear that the time will end of the salah even if it's the mukhtar time for salatul asr and salatul isha before the sun turns yellow and before the middle of the night or he feared that his people would leave him if they were traveling or the bus he would miss the bus or the plane or something or he feared anything for himself or his wealth so if none of that is there so there's mawani' or things that prevents the person so انتفاء الموانع the mawani' is not there and the means to achieve it is feasible and that's the feasibility of it is by he now he's ignorant about where the water is he doesn't know so when is it becomes mandatory upon him to take someone else's opinions in this matter if it's someone that is trustworthy and he said to him that the water is near now okay there's a question here ولا متطهر 162 163 ولا متطهر متطهرا بأحدهما uh, now it's about the one that is فاقد الطهورين someone that doesn't have water or dust to make tayammum so that means the one that is not able to have water or dust then he is not to lead in salah someone that made tahara purification with one of them whether it's water or dust so someone did not have water did not have dust so he has to pray anyway he is not to lead someone that made tayammum he's not to lead someone in salah that he made wudu for example because he's فاقد الطهورين he said if there is a group of people that make salah in whatever state that are in this case would they individually no this is as hopefully it's clear I'm not sure exactly what there's a group of people that make salah in whatever state that they are in this case would they individually if someone no someone make tayammum can lead others but someone did not make tayammum nor wudu he cannot lead any of them استحالة غير الخمرة if it's not clear let me know إن شاء الله 172 here ولا يطهر متنجس باستحالة the issue of الاستحالة when something completely changed to something else if it's already in itself is najis then it's ashes for example is still najis right so this is all najis and he mentioned some of the examples because it's already in itself is najis and it changed to not something completely different but something that is still from the same najis which is the same thing and he mentioned here the ramadun najasa the ashes of najasa غبارها it's dust or بخارها it's smoke or the steam that comes from it dudu jurhin the dud that comes from pus the worms that comes from pus and the cockroaches and things like this or a dog fell into a thing full of salt and the dog became salt then it's still najis because it did not change غير الخمر except the wine and the different categories of it if it changed by itself because there's a hadith here if it changed by itself to khal to vinegar right and that means it's now vinegar it's not khamra that means it's tahalat it becomes completely different this is then makes it permissible, makes it pure. And the reason why it's by itself because of the hadith of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. But if they intentionally changed it, they put chemicals in it to change it, then it's not permissible. That's why فإن خللت أو نقلت لقصد التخليل. They moved it so that they can make vinegar from it, or they made vinegar from it with their own actions, then لم تطهر does not makes it pure. Here, a group of people that did not make wudu or tayammum, are they to make salah individual? Since I understood that they are not to be imam. No, they can be imam to one another, but not to someone that is of a higher status than them. So, فقد الطهورين, and it's like if we go back again to the page 62. أو عدم الماء والتراب كمن حبس بمحل الماء به ولا تراب، وكذا من به قروح لا يستطيع معها لمس البشرة بماء ولا تراب، صلى الفرض فقط على حسب حاله ولم يعد، ولا يزيد على ما يجزئ في الصلاة، فيقرأ زائدا على الفاتحة ولا يسبح وهكذا، ولا يؤم متطهرا بأحدهما. نعم. So it did not mention about that, but it's about they are not to lead the salah of someone that already made some tahara, whether it's with water or tayammum. The one that did not make any of the tahara from whether it's water or tayammum or dust. Of course, yani, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us benefit. And as we talk about the tahara and the tayammum and so on, is just a reminder for myself and everyone is to remember the purification of the heart and how this is a foundation that needs to be looked at. There's a statement by Ibn Rajab rahimahullah when he said الاشتغال بتطهير القلوب أفضل من الاستكثار من والصلاة مع غش القلوب ودغلها. To be busy in purifying the hearts is more virtuous than to make lots of while the hearts have betrayal in it and have diseases in it. And of course, it's not to ignore the sawm and the salah, but it shows the importance of purification of the heart. طيب, page number 185. 185. Okay, وإن علمت عدده. What does نصفه refers to? نعم. وإن علمت أي المستحاضة عدده أي عدد أيام حيضها، ونسيت موضعه من الشهر، ولو كان موضعه من الشهر في نصفه. Right. جلستها أي جلست أيام عادتها من أوله. نعم. If المستحاضة she knows the number of days of the haid. Right. So she knows that her haid, her period is 5 days. She knows the number of days, but she forgot when it usually comes, in the beginning of the month, or the end of the month or whatever. So if she forgot the place of the month, the time of the month, ولو في نصفه, even if it's like she forgets the half of the month, that means she knows that it's in the first half. نصفه here refers to the month, half of the month. جلستها, that means she would not make salah in the days of her period, which is, say we said 5, من أوله, from the beginning of that half. So if she knows that her period comes, but she does not remember if it's the first week, the second week, but she knows that it's in the first half of the month, but not exactly know when, and she knows that it's 5 days, then the first 5 days of the month, she should treat it as haid. So this is basically Nusri refers to the month. I hope it's clear, inshallah. Page 176. 176. At the bottom, 176. What is al-humur? Now, al-humur is the domestic donkeys. But here, the Prophet ﷺ, he said in al-Humur, the donkeys in the day of Khaybar, because they used to eat it. They used to eat it, except when it becomes forbidden at the time of the Battle of Khaybar. The Prophet ﷺ forbade eating it, and he said, "Innaha rijisun," that indeed that it's rijis, najis. Now, if anyone has, it mentions she forgot. Is it necessary? Not she forgot all of it. When it mentions she forgot, it is not necessarily she forgot all of it. Forgive me, Allah, I'm not really sure what you mean by that. She forgot the time of the month. There's two things. There's the numbers of days. She knows that it's 5 days or 6 days. And of course, al-Mustahada here is the one that the blood doesn't stop. And she's not able to differentiate between the blood of menses and the blood of the normal blood. So, and she knows that her menses is 5 days, for example, but she forgot when does it come. If it's in the beginning of the month, the end of the month. So she need to make some ijtihad to narrow down the time. So we have the days and the time. So if she knows that it's in the first half of the month, but she doesn't remember exactly when, then in the beginning half of the month. If she knows that it's in the second half of the month, then it's the beginning of the second half of the month, right? Like this. So this is if she doesn't know the number, whether sometimes she doesn't know that she does not remember the number of days. And if you, and anytime you want to say something instead of typing, that's fine, inshallah. ربنا يبارك فيك. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy, inshallah. والله يعني Allah knows what's in the hearts, يعني. But inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring us together, inshallah. Very soon, inshallah. You never know. No musta'an. طيب, inshallah, we'll stop here, inshallah, and we continue next time. And hopefully, inshallah, we have the exam soon, inshallah. And we have two more classes of review, Saturday and Monday, inshallah. Saturday for Aqidah and Monday for what's left from Al-Rawd, inshallah. ربنا يبارك فيكم. صلى الله وسلم وبارك على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.